Let's take a look at the new Distance Masters. Fishing with a feeder at distance has become really big all across Europe and here in the UK. And we knew at Preston Innovations we had to look to take our rods to the next level. For years, the Dutch Master have been fantastic range of rods, absolutely incredible, caught us hundreds and hundreds of fish. But like with anything, technology and design moves on. So it gave us an opportunity to look at doing some really nice new Distance Master rods. There's 3 rods in the range. There's a 3.8, a 4 and a 4.2 metre. And we felt that 3 rods covered all your distance needs really nicely. Let's look at the 3.8 metre first. When I was testing this rod, I felt that it was really good for venues such as say Southfield Reservoir or Barston, where I was casting 50 to 70 metres in any conditions. Now you've got to remember, when you're casting that sort of distance and you're probably going to be playing either small bream or big carp, you need a rod that can do everything. And this rod really does do that. It's got the power in the lower section, but because it's a bit shorter, it feels like quite a nice through action rod when you're playing those carp. And it really was a rod that I loved to pick up during the practice sessions. Then we've got the 4 metre. Now 4 metres, this tended to be my go-to rod when I was looking for distance fishing. And when I talk about distance fishing, I'm talking 60 metres or more. Anywhere between say 60 and 85 metres, I felt the 4 metre rod was a perfect rod for those conditions. In Ireland last year, had a couple of big chucks, 65, 70 metres, and the rod just completely ate it up. That's with 60-gram feeders and casting in big locks, and you know what it's like when that wind gets up and you can't cast the distances. You need the power in the rod, and that 4 metre really gave me the power at the lower section, but played skimmers, roach, bream, anything I wanted to catch, no problem. I also took it and caught some really big carp to test it out again at Barston and Boddington, and it just, the action went lovely through the rod when playing these big carp, so it was perfect for casting and playing the fish. Really nice rod. Then we've got the 4.2 metre. Now this is a proper animal. If you're looking to cast big distances, and by that I mean over 85 metres, this is the rod for you. Today we're fishing at 85 metres, so I've used this rod to cast out there, but when we were trying the rods and testing and doing all the filming, we were casting this rod 120 metres or more, which is a huge distance. So it gave me massive confidence when I want a specialist tool for the really big casts. So as you can see, 3 rods in the range to cover all your fishing needs. Just want to touch on the guides on these rods. They're really top quality, slightly oversized guides, and that's really important when you're casting at a distance. You don't want any resistance along those guides when you're casting out. Also, we found that there was a real optimum number on each length of rods. We've worked really hard to get the placing just right. It really is a nice feature of these rods. With each Distance Master you get 3 tips, a 2, 3 and 4 ounce. And these suit different circumstances. For example, if it's towing really strongly, you might want to go for the 4 ounce. Maybe if you're looking for some shyer biting fish at distance, you might turn to the 2 ounce. A really nice feature of all these tips is actually that they're really fast taper, which means that at the top it's very sensitive to pick up bites and indications, yet there's the strength at the lower end of the tip which helps the transition into the rod. You've got to remember that these rods are designed for casting at distance, so we want something that recovers quickly so you don't get that little whip at the end and the crack off that we've all had that many times. So that was really important for us to get these tips right, and I really do think that we've managed it nicely. An important feature on these Distance Master rods is of course the handle length. Now, When you're casting any sort of distance, using the handle to generate power is really, really important. So if the handle was too short, you can't generate that same power in the cast. So this we felt was the optimum length after, again, studying all the videos and looking at different lengths of rod. That position was absolutely perfect for generating that power on the cast, and it's a lovely feature of all these rods. A beautiful Ferry Meadows bream there on the Distance Master rods. That's everything you need to know about them. Check them out at your local stockist.